Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. I just wanted to talk to you today about the coronavirus, COVID-19. Because of the curfew instructions that have been instructed in some of the countries and the widespread of this disease, we just want people not to have panic because of this. The Prophet Muhammad has mentioned that there is something which is called infection, in fact, and we have seen that this disease is infectious and it's spreading worldwide, and now it's a pandemic and it has reached to a high levels. However, for the Muslims, for brother Muslims, and sisters, they don't need to panic, because the Prophet Muhammad, yes, he has approved that there is an infection and there is contagious diseases, yes, and he has mentioned in many of the hadiths assuring that, and he said that فِرَّ مِنَ الْمَجْذُومِ فِرَارَكَ مِنَ الْأَسَدِ, which means run away from the one who has leprosy, like you run away from the lion. That means it's very important to get away from the infected people. And also he has mentioned in another hadith, he said that no one brings his infected camels to the one who has healthy camels, because the infected camels or the sick camels will spread the sickness or the disease to the healthy ones. So this is why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in these two hadiths, he approved that there is something which is called infection. But on the other hand, he doesn't want to make this kind of infection, to make this belief in the infection affect the reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his faith, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have to believe that whatever that happens to us, it will not miss us, and whatever have missed us from the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it wouldn't affect us, in fact. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in other hadiths, he said there is no infection and there is no bad omen, and he likes the fa'il, which means the good word or the nice word. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he mixed between these three terminologies because he's not talking from himself, because this is only a convey from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has mixed between these three terminologies, because Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he wants us to spread the nice words, spread the happiness between people in such cases. In fact, like he said, there is no infection and there is no bad omens. So just like you have to stop this kind of belief in bad omen, and you have to stop that belief that the infection, it will hurt you itself. That means in other hadith, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in Al-Bukhari, narrated by Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, he said, لا عدوى ولا طيرة ولا هامة ولا صفر, and he said there is no infection. And also in Al-Bukhari and Muslim, from narrated by Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, he said لا عدوى, as we said, no, there is no infection, no bad omen. And I like the al-fa'l, which means they asked him, what's al-fa'l ya Rasulullah, or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said the good word, or spreading the good word. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day when he was saying there is no infection, one of the companions, he told him, "O Rasulullah, there is, if we bring a camel with a leprosy disease, and we put it in between the healthy ones, it will make them have leprosy also." So he said, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who did infect the first one? So who did infected the first one with coronavirus? So that means if we combine these hadiths together, we have to believe that Prophet Muhammad wanted to teach us that the infection is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the disease is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to believe in that, but we have to believe that everything happens by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even sometimes you need to get away from the reasons that makes you, or the causes of disease. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, do not throw yourself to or do not kill yourself, or do not throw yourself to the death. But on the other hand, you have to believe that even the infection, or the disease itself, it could affect you, or you could be infected without even causes. And who did infect the first one? So this is why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ wants us to to be careful with the causes, the reasons, and we have to prepare ourselves. We have to take care of everything. We have to follow up the instructions from the Ministry of Health and other entities. And we have also, at the same time, we don't need to panic, and we have to believe that, to rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to believe in fate, and we believe that everything is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just like there is no infection, and we have to go on and do our daily life activities, and with some care. We don't mingle with others, like they're saying, like they're saying in the social media and the media. They're saying don't to avoid the congregations and all these things. Like in some countries they have stopped the schools, suspended the school studies and congregations, and mixing areas, like mingling areas, like in malls and so on and so forth. And let me tell you this story. The banning of travel between the countries, the curfew procedures, and also the preventing the congregations, it was there in our religion also. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he was talking about the plague, the disease, which is very contagious, he said that if you have heard this one in a country or a state, do not enter that country. And if it affects your country or the state where you live, don't leave it, running away from faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that means don't spread or infect other peoples from other states or other countries. So you have to stay, you have to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala faith, and that there will not harmful, there is nothing harmful will be to you unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants by his faith. So that means banning the travel between the countries. It's also mentioned by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we have to follow all these instructions, and not like we want to rely. We have a reliance, so we will not listen to the governments. We want to travel. We want to move here and there. We want to mingle with others. We believe that infection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we don't take care. No, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he has mentioned these both sides. And let me tell you a story from Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, when there was a plague of Amwas. Amwas is a place in Palestine, and it has spread from Palestine to the other Sham countries. And when it spread there, when Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, he reached to Al-Sham, he had heard that there is something spread there, disease, which is called the plague. And he stopped. He didn't want to go inside. Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anh, he just discussed this with him, and he told him, are you running away from the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, I would like, just like he said, if it was someone not you who said that, he's surprised that Abu Ubaidah will talk like this, because he said we are running away from the faith of Allah to faith of Allah. Did you see, oh Abu Ubaidah, did you see that if you have like camels and you want them to go in a valley with two sides, one with the grass and one without grass, and which place you will go to put your camels there for eating? He said, I will go for the one with the grass. Okay, he said that if you go to the one with the grass, it will be by Allah's faith, and if you go to the one without grass, it will be with also Allah's faith. So he didn't go in, and he stopped and he went back. There is something also in our regarding this case, the plague in Al-Sham country. He said, and at that time, the prince of Al-Sham was Amr ibn al-As, and he decided something which is something like the curfews that we have today, and preventing or banning the congregations and the schools and suspension of the schools that we have today. He told them that this kind of disease It's just like a fire, and fire will light whenever there is something or for combustion. And so this is why I want you to spread up to the mountains. That means no congregations in the city. Leave the city, and each one of you has to go to the mountain. That means he has separated the people. He has banned the congregations, and they left the city and they went to the mountains on the sides of the city, because he said that this fire means the disease itself. He's imitating this fire metaphor. Sorry, this fire, if it doesn't find something for combustion, it will not spread anymore. So really they did follow his instructions, and then the Alhamdulillah, the plague has stopped. So we also need to do like that. We also need to follow the government's instructions, and stay away from the congregations. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal all the Muslims, brother Muslims and sisters, and also all the humanity, and prevent and stop this infection as soon as possible. You need to just like make dua as much as you can. Prophet Muhammad said, Allahumma wa'ani a'udhu bika min sayyi al-asqam, the bad diseases. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I seek refuge with you from the bad diseases. You also try to repeat these kind of supplications, and follow the instructions of the government, and no need to panic, no need to panic, no need to panic. Just like follow the instructions of Prophet Muhammad. Just believe that everything by the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and go on with your life. Just take the causes that prevents the infection, and that's it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heal all the infected people, and inshallah we'll meet you in another videos with good situations better than this one. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.